Hello and welcome tonight. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede fights back tears as he admits errors in the 2025 UTME. 379,997 candidates affected by the technical glitches will retake the examinations. President Bola Tinubu seeks the approval of the Senate for the passage of 1.78 trillion naira budget for the Federal Capital Territory. United Kingdom reiterates its commitments to fostering economic and trade ties with Nigeria through enhanced partnerships. And U.S. President Donald Trump announces a series of deals between the U.S. and Qatar on the second day of his 4-day trip to the Middle East.
And on business, Nigeria's crude oil production rises to 1.49 million barrels per day in April, and that's according to OPEC's latest report.
On sports news tonight, world number 3 Coco Gauff subdued 7th seed Mira Andreeva with a 6-7, 6-4 victory to enter the semi-finals of the Italian Open for his second successive year.
From the nation's capital, lead counsel for leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Kanu Agabi, refutes denial of access claim at DSS facility as court adjourns case to May 21.
When the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, released the results of this year's UTME on May the 9th, it was confident of its exercise, even as it seemed candidates' performances weren't good enough in the examinations. But there were widespread complaints of technical glitches, unusually low scores, and even alleged irregularities. In a surprising twist, though, JAMB has admitted to the errors that affected the performance of students during this year's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The registrar of the board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, made the admission during a media briefing in Abuja. Professor Oloyede, who fought tears while admitting to the development, announced that about 379,997 candidates in the just concluded exercise will have to retake the examination.
The atmosphere is devoid of the usual calmness as journalists converge on the headquarters of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board for the outcome of the review meeting of the board. According to the examination body, a total of 1,955,069 results were processed, out of which only 4,756 candidates scored 320 and above, considering top-tier performance, while 7,658 candidates scored between 300 and 319, bringing the total for those who scored 300 and above to 12,414 candidates.
First working day after the release of the result.
The registrar of JAMB leads the news by taking responsibility for what he describes as sabotage of the 2025 UTME that affected several candidates.
Today marks a moment we shall not soon forget. A day that should have been filled with celebration for what was, until recently, regarded as our most successful UTM exercise. Regrettably, this joy has been overshadowed by an easily avoidable error by one or two persons. Our review and investigation revealed that there are grounds for the complaints about our 2025 UTME result. So I appeal to the candidates and those affected by the error of our system to accept the explanation I've given as the truth on this matter. I apologize and take full responsibility, not just in words.
As the implication of the errors dawn on the JAMB registrar, he breaks down in tears.
Thank you. I know that some members of the group want to say one or two.
He provides details of the candidates affected during the exercise.
5 states of the southeast were affected, but in terms of number, over 200, all of them coming from Lagos State, were affected, but 173,387 from the southeast states. In clear terms, in the process of rectifying the issue, the technical personnel deployed by our service provider for LAG, Lagos and Southeast zones, inadvertently failed to update some of the delivery servers. Regrettably, this oversight went undetected prior to the release of the results.
Determined to remedy the situation, the board announces the rescheduling of the examination for affected candidates.
We have decided that all the candidates affected in the 157 centers of the 882 be contacted to retake their examinations. These candidates are to be contacted through text messages addressed to their registered phone number from tomorrow.
Out of the 1.9 million candidates who sat for the UTME, over 1.5 million scored below 200, out of the maximum 400 marks, raising concerns across the education sector. However, the review of the exercise may have provided succor for some of the affected candidates.
Vice President Kashim Chhatima says budgeting under President Bola Tinubu's administration is not for survival, but for economic transformation that guarantees sustainable growth. He stated this at the 15th Mechanical Engineering Distinguished Lecture in Abuja, where speakers called on the federal government to prioritize Nigerian engineers in the award of contracts for road and other infrastructure projects. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
It's the 15th Mechanical Engineering Distinguished Lectures organized by the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, with Vice President Kashim Chhatima leading the dignitaries in attendance, including the founding chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief B.C. Akande, former governors and renowned professional engineers. The lecture focuses on the imperative of mechanical engineering strategies for socio-economic development based on national budget, challenges and potential.
Our nation will be better served when our engineers are better equipped to contribute to sustainable development.
Engineering is moving from the spanner and the hammer into the arena of deep knowledge and calculations, and I think we are there now.
The lecturer, a former deputy governor of Osun State, Senator Iyoola Omishore, underscores the need for the federal government to increase budgeting for infrastructures.
Nigeria needs to invest heavily in infrastructure development, that is roads, bridges, ports and energy, to drive economic growth and development. The growth in building infrastructure development is expected to be an increase in the coming years.
He also makes a case for the training of more engineers in Nigeria.
We need cooperation of the government of Nigeria to ensure that the respective things are followed and the curriculum are followed strictly.
The paper elicited reactions as guests urged the federal government to patronize Nigerian engineers.
More than 90% of our capital project goes to Germany, goes to China and all of that. So for me, and this is very important, the beginning of Nigeria First project is that our road construction will be given to Nigerian engineers.
Vice President Kashim Chhatima lauds the contribution of engineers to national development as he reiterates the priorities of President Bola Tinubu's government in budgeting for the country.
We are not just budgeting for survival. We are budgeting for reality. We are budgeting for transformation. We are building systems that speak to productivity, to sustainability, and to progress. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are more than builders of machines. You are builders of the future. And the nation we seek to build will not rise on political promises alone. It must rise on the backbone of engineering.
The Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers honored the Vice President for his support to the body. A communique from this lecture will be submitted to President Bola Tinubu via the Vice President with recommendations that highlight the importance of enhancing the budgeting system for infrastructure development in Nigeria. From the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center in Abuja, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Nigeria's bilateral relations with the UK span several decades that have served the interests of both nations. And in the present day, the United Kingdom is reiterating its commitment to fostering its economic and trade ties with Nigeria through enhanced partnerships. Speaking at a news conference, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Richard Montgomery, says the core mandate of the partnership covers areas such as education, agriculture, financial services, clean energy, digital technology, and the creative industry.
Nigeria and the United Kingdom share trade and economic ties, which has been in existence for over 50 years and counting. This event, organized by the British High Commission, is one of such.
I'm going to briefly
First, the High Commissioner praises the government's economic reforms and reaffirms the support of Britain in key sectors of the economy.
We all know about the abolition of the fuel subsidy. We all know about the unification of the exchange rate system. And my headline this morning is that these economic reforms are paying off. And these economic reforms are now making Nigeria more investable.
Trade ties between Nigeria and the United Kingdom currently stands at £7.2 billion.
Surplus, this is correct.
The UK government is committing to improving the relationship as Nigeria receives a tariff-free export on 3,000 goods, including cocoa, cashew nuts, yams, tomatoes, prawns and plantains, amongst others.
We're keen to see greater diversification of Nigerian exports beyond hydrocarbons through the Developing Countries Trading Scheme and our Trade for Development program. We are supporting Nigeria's export growth. Nigeria has significant potential to benefit from DCTS, and we encourage Nigerian exporters to take advantage of the opportunity.
After listening to the speeches concerning the new partnerships, the Director General of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council gives words of commitment to creating seamless transactions.
The UK is a long-standing partner, and we see this renewed engagement as an opportunity not just to expand trade, but to deepen collaboration on the reforms that make trade work better.
The partnership between Nigeria and the United Kingdom cuts across various sectors, and this includes digital economy, security, trade, creative economy, and education. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Southeast Zonal Executive of the People's Democratic Party threatened to leave the party if its recommendation of Sunday Ude Okoye as National Secretary is not honored. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede fights back tears as he admits errors in the 2025 UTME. 379,997 candidates affected by the technical glitches will retake the examinations. President Bola Tinubu seeks the approval of the Senate for the passage of 1.78 trillion naira budget for the Federal Capital Territory. United Kingdom reiterates its commitment to fostering economic and trade ties with Nigeria through enhanced partnerships. And U.S. President Donald Trump announces a series of deals between the U.S. and Qatar on the second day of his 4-day trip to the Middle East. We're in the National Assembly now, where the Senate has passed the 1.78 trillion naira statutory appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory for the 2025 financial year through second reading. This followed a correspondence submitted by President Bola Tinubu to the Red Chamber today, proposing a 1.783 trillion naira statutory appropriation bill for the FCT for expeditious consideration and approval. In his communication to the upper chamber, President Tinubu urges the Senate to give the bill expedited consideration, noting that its passage is critical to ensuring an effective and service-oriented administration for residents of the FCT.
Lawmakers resume plenary with a request from President Bola Tinubu high up on the agenda. He is seeking expedited consideration and approval of a 1.78 trillion naira budget for the FCT.
That on the basis of revenue forecast.
Responding to the request, the Senate invokes Order 78, setting aside the rule which ordinarily prohibits a bill from proceeding to second reading on the same day it is introduced.
I most respectfully wish to move a motion for the suspension of Rule 78.1.
However, the accelerated process did not go without a grudge, as an opposition lawmaker who attributes the achievements of the FCT minister to the PDP also raises concerns, citing the rules.
A printed copy of the bill shall, as soon as possible, be sent to every senator. Sent to every senator.
Your point of order is sustained. Now,
this is a money bill. Don't play with it.
This is a very important bill because what happens in the FCT reflects the entirety of Nigeria. Those in support that this bill be down to the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Separately, lawmakers show a united front as they begin a probe into the implementation of the federal character principle.
If you look at me, you know I'm from Niger Delta, and we are part of those who have suffered so badly. The map of Nigeria will show you that the Niger Delta carries the country, and yet have very little to show for it. So we suffer unfairness, and for me to be chairman, it means that if I see anything that's unfair, I will not stomach it.
It is an investigative hearing that drew representatives of government agencies on the asymmetrical recruitment and appointment processes across the country.
It is a result of principle of federal character that today we are occupying the position of Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a Kanuri man. It's because we have taken deliberate steps to carry along all the component units of the Nigerian state, nation state, to give each and every unit a sense of belonging.
The committee therefore warns chief executive officers of agencies that failure to appear before the panel would attract punitive measures. Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed the appointment of 5 resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission submitted by President Bola Tinubu in March. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Politics now. The Southeast Zonal Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party has threatened to review its relationship with the party if its recommendation of Sunday Okoye as National Secretary is not honored. The body made this known at the end of the Southeast Zonal meeting held at the Government House, Enugu. While reading out the communique, the zonal chairman says the Southeast has consistently served as a stronghold of the PDP with unalloyed loyalty to the party since inception, and even as members in other regions continue to defect.
Southeast Zonal Executive Committee exhaustively deliberated on the directive of the NWC and came to the conclusion that it offered a sure pathway to peace, unity, stability, and progress of our party. Consequently, the ZEC unanimously recommend Honorable Sunday Okoye as a candidate to complete the term of office of the National Secretary. 2. We also urge the NWC to uphold its decision at its 600 meeting on April 29, 2025 by ensuring that the Deputy National Secretary of PDP functions as the National Secretary pending the notification of the nominee for the office of the National Secretary by the National Executive Committee of our great party, in line with the recommendations of the PDP Governors Forum and adopted by the NWC. It is on the strength of the above, therefore, that we hope that this time around, the position of the Southeast PDP regarding the office of National Secretary is accorded the honor and immediately it deserves. This will bring to a closure the needless lingering disputes over this matter. However, in the event that our position is not promptly implemented by the party, the Southeast PDP as a family will be compelled to reconsider our relationship with PDP going forward.
In Kebbi, the All Progressives Congress in Koko local government area has plunged into a fresh crisis following the suspension of two serving commissioners, Garba Dutsimari, Commissioner for Local Government, and Halima Bande, Commissioner for Basic Education. The suspensions were announced by local party executives amid growing tensions and internal disputes that have threatened the unity of the party in the area. The affected commissioners, alongside the local government party chairman, were accused of gross misconduct, disregard for party rules, and actions capable of breeding disunity within the ranks of the APC in Koko local government. Now, the decision comes just days after another round of suspensions targeting some key party executives in the local government area.
For some people just came who are newly to the APC. They just come, they call us day before yesterday with the hope of Kaura has given something to give to the people. They just announced that they have sent people away. So we are telling you, this forum, under the vice chairman, those people, we have removed them from Zambia APC because we understand they never passed 2 months when they enter APC. They wanted to bring a crisis just because they wanted to contest. This man that they are voting to has been helping people almost all the time. This Salah that has passed, he gave the people of Koko 40 million naira under my leadership. I'm the one who distributed them. He gave Mayama. Who is that man? Alesha Dr. Wambankoko is the one who is helping the party, and he is always together to us. So these people just came newly 2 months ago with the hope now they wanted to do contesting. If they want to contest, we didn't prevent them from contesting, but let them not disturb the APC people. Despite this thing, we are still behind the governor of Kebbi State, Dr. Kaurangwandu, because he didn't do anything for us. We believe this thing that has happened, he is not aware.
Now, amidst the rising insecurity in some parts of the country, 20 governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress are currently in a closed-door meeting in Abuja on the state of the nation. Among those in attendance are the governors of Lagos, Kebbi, Ogun, Edo, Delta, Imo, Benue, and Kogi states, in addition to deputy governors who are representing their states, and the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. Now, the dignitaries also include the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, and the Ministers of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Labor and Employment, Information and National Orientation, and Culture and Creative Economy. The agenda for the meeting, however, remains unknown. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's crude oil production rises to 1.49 million barrels per day in the month of April, and that's according to OPEC's latest report. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Millicent.
Hi, Ayotunde. Many thanks. We head to the courts now, and in continuation of the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, his lead counsel, Mr. Kanu Agabi, has told the Federal High Court, Abuja, that he was not denied access to his clients at the facility of the Department of State Services. At the resumed sitting before Justice James Omotosho, Mr. Agabi clarified the post made by Mr. Aloy Jimako on social media, which had suggested that he was not allowed to see Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. Mr. Agabi admitted to turning up at the DSS facility alone and was informed that the names of expected visitors had not arrived. However, he had another engagement at the golf club within the same area as the facility. Justice Omotosho then asked Mr. Ejimakor, who put up the post, where he responded that to his understanding, the learned silk was denied access. The court was not pleased with his response and cautioned him to refrain from such actions. Thereafter, the day's proceeding continued with the cross-examination of the second prosecution witness with code name Triple B, who had tendered the death certificate of a senior special advisor on political affairs to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Ahmed Gulak. The trial was adjourned to May 21 at the instance of the Defense Counsel. Away from the court, as part of ongoing activities to mark his second year in office, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has commissioned the renovation and upgrade of Government Girls Arabic Secondary School, Gusau. While speaking at the commissioning ceremony, the governor explained that the project is part of his administration's efforts to revamp the education sector. And now to some company news. In a significant display of corporate social responsibility, Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited has launched a comprehensive medical outreach in Kayama, Kulukuma, Okpokuma local government area of Bayelsa State. The company says the program, which has already provided free medical care to thousands, is part of a wider initiative to improve access to quality health care across the region.
At the Kayama Referral Hospital, hundreds of residents queue for access to free medical services ranging from eye surgeries, dental care and immunizations to blood pressure checks, diabetes screening and drug dispensation. The 10-day community health initiatives, spearheaded by Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, is part of the Vision First program, a commitment to reducing preventable blindness and improving public health across Bayelsa State.
A program that is intended to benefit the cluster communities and other communities within the environment. But I must say that it is well intended.
Since it was announced in the Niger data, over 7,500 people have benefited from the Vision First program.
Representing NNPCL Upstream Investment Management Services, Uzo Ediju says the project reflects the joint venture's long-term investment in human capital.
We at NNPC, in partnership with our JVs, believe that robust development in the health, education, and social economies of our people can be realized by deliberate, intentional, and effective government, corporate, and social collaboration.
Bayelsa's Commissioner for Health, Professor Brisibe, describes the intervention as commendable, calling for its expansion beyond medical care.
We want this partnership not just to be in the sphere of medical outreaches, but we want to be it to deepen to the point of infrastructural development, human capital development in health sector, and also policy development.
At the event, some of the participants had surgeries, medication was also administered, and care kits distributed. The beneficiaries expressed their gratitude to the company.
They have given me glass for reading, even for the surgery and drugs. I heard that something like this is happening in Kayama and my backyard. I said I will be there. So and I came and I succeeded it, and I am happy right now.
The initiative is not limited to Kayama alone, as it will continue in other communities, reinforcing a growing partnership between public institutions and the private sector to tackle healthcare challenges in underserved areas.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to Ayotunde for more on the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Millicent. Here in Lagos, the Oniru of Iru Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Abdulwasiu Omogbala Lawal, has paid a courtesy visit to Reddington Hospital, highlighting the importance of healthcare and partnership to the grassroots community. The monarch says his leadership is committed to providing quality and accessible healthcare services to members of the community. Responding, the management of Reddington Hospital pledged their continued support for the monarch's vision, even as he celebrates his 5th coronation anniversary on the throne.
The value of significant collaboration is on full display as the Reddington Hospital, Victoria Island, Lagos, a major contributor to the healthcare sector in Nigeria, plays host to a remarkable visit of His Royal Majesty Oba Abdulwasiu Lawal, the Oniru of Iru Kingdom. Flanked by his vibrant entourage, including his wife, Olori Mariam Lawal, this visit embodies the monarch's vision. Let's grow Iruland together, an initiative which prioritizes collaborative efforts to provide quality and affordable health care to members of the community.
My target was to set up a very robust community hospital that will not be too high in terms of costs, but that will also be affordable for a lot of indigent members of the community.
We remain committed to supporting your flagship vision, the legit vision for the people of Iruland. Let's grow Iruland together. We're happy to partner with you, sir, and we'll continue to partner with you.
The occasion doubles as a celebration of the monarch's 5th coronation anniversary, with a special gift, a large portrait presented to him, courtesy of the hospital. The monarch is given a special tour of the hospital and is impressed by what he sees.
Reddington Hospital Group has been in existence for almost 2 decades in Iruland. Saturday, this is the Martins, and I'm very impressed with what they have done, the quality of service.
To grow a formidable health sector, the power of collaboration is paramount, and this visit serves as a clear illustration of the significant achievement that can be unlocked by working together.
Premium Trust Bank is strengthening its footprint in Delta State with the launch of a new branch in Efron, its 21st branch nationwide and the 2nd in the area. The bank's management says the move reflects its commitment to financial inclusion and community development. Speaking at the official commissioning ceremony, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevori described the investment as a strong vote of confidence in the state's business environment.
Is buzzing with excitement as Premium Trust Bank celebrates the grand opening of its newest branch, a testament to remarkable growth and unwavering trust just 3 years after its inception. Speaking at the commissioning, the Managing Director, Emmanuel Emefianem, reaffirms the bank's commitment to partnering with the Delta State government in fostering a vibrant business climate.
So today, as the people are present here in Delta State, we reaffirm our support for the state government's medium-term development plan 2024 to 2027, which prioritizes sustainable growth, transparency, and resource optimization.
There are more goodwill messages from leaders and stakeholders who hope this will bring development.
I can tell you, if you get this bank in the next 3 years, you will see what this bank will do. They will knock out the first side. And I'm proud to say, I've been using my businesses from Port Harcourt to Lagos to Escravos, everywhere. We'll be using so many other banks, but I'm proud to say today that this is our primary bank now.
The Delta State Governor, Mr. Sheriff Oborevori, praises the bank's expansion, calling it a strong vote of confidence in the state's economy and a boost for investor interest.
Traders, market women, businesses, and workers now have more options to access quality banking services in a conducive environment that Premium Trust is known for.
Governor Oborevori then proceeds to formally declare the branch open for business.
to the glory of God and the blessing of Jesus. When you talk about financial inclusion, it's trying to bring in more people into the net, so they can begin to access financial products and services.
Since its launch in 2022, Premium Trust Bank has rapidly climbed the ranks, now listed among Nigeria's 12 most profitable banks. It also serves as the lead sponsor of the 2025 National Sports Festival, a testament to its investment in youth development. With 4 branches already operating in Delta State and more underway, the bank says it is committed to bringing trust, innovation, and inclusive economic growth into the financial ecosystem.
So what's the latest in Nigeria's crude oil production? Will Ibong has that and other stories on Business News. Will.
Thank you, Ayotunde. We can tell you that Nigeria's crude oil production has increased as it rose from 1.4 million barrels per day in March to 1.49 million barrels in April, and that's according to OPEC's latest monthly oil market report. The 85,000 barrels per day increase in output comes amid fall in global oil prices. Nigeria continues to retain its leading position on the chart for Africa's top oil producers within OPEC. Also, Nigeria's oil rig count rose to 11 in the month of April from 10 recorded in March. Still within the oil space, but in the corporate world, Separate Energy PLC, a leading Nigerian independent energy company listed on both the Nigerian and the London Stock Exchange, held its 12th annual general meeting at the company's corporate office in Lagos on Wednesday. The meeting, which was held virtually, had the company's chairman and other board members in attendance. Management says the future is very good for the company as it remains keen on rewarding shareholders, building successes achieved in the year 2024 and first quarter of 2025.
Seplat Energy, Senator.
Key stakeholders of Seplat Energy PLC all have their presence registered here, including the chairman, CEO, and other members of the board of the company, with some joining the 12th annual general meeting of the company virtually.
Good morning, fellow shareholders.
First is notice of the meeting and guide for proceedings of the day from the chairman, who notifies everyone that reforms have made the company Nigeria's energy powerhouse.
Our movement and all the things that we are doing is to establish our position as Nigeria's leading independent energy company.
He goes further to express his optimism about the future of the company, a position buttressed by the chief executive officer.
We are in a very good place. We're a strong company. We are easily the leading domestic energy producer. So the future is very, very rosy for Seplat Energy.
We're very confident that this year we will continue to grow the business, and particularly we will continue to grow production and oil production, and then obviously monetize the gas.
Seplat Energy says it remains focused, especially optimizing redundant assets for more growth, and takes dividends for shareholders' interests seriously.
We have a program now clearly cut out to restore all the idle wells, starting with the easy and safe to restore conduits. And we will progress this, and this will actually span into next year.
We are focused on dividend and also rewarding the shareholders. So as we continue to drive performance for 2025, we'll then continue to ensure that the shareholders are rewarded accordingly.
With a revenue of over $1.1 billion, an approved dividends of 3.6 US cents per share for the final quarter of 2024, and an additional special dividend of 3.3 US cents per share, Seplat Energy is on a journey to taking full advantage of its human and material resources, as well as contributing to Nigeria's energy mix for growth.
Now, bouncing off that positive performance, we head to the domestic equities market, which sustained gains in today's trading session as the all-share index rose further by 0.26%. Glad Williams has the details.
welcome to the stock market reports. Well, the midweek trade closing the green today, making it a two-day win streak for the NGX All-Share Index, 0.27%, and staying on the 109,000 level just by 59 points. Will that hold? We'll definitely find out. Let's look at the sectors now. It's all positive for the sectors that we track, with the consumer goods sector leading the charge there with a 1.25% rise. Nigeria breweries, international breweries, Northern Nigeria flour mills, all adding to their share prices. They're popping up that counter. Banking is all left out with a 0.58%, but followed closely by oil and gas counter. The Tier 1 banks were on fire today with UBA adding 1.30%, Zenith 1.04%, and we see GTCO and FBNH there, the laggards, 0.65% down and 0.80%. Well, that's how the market performed today. Fingers crossed if the bulls can maintain for the remaining trading days.
Thank you, Ladi. I'm keeping fingers crossed in solidarity with you. Now let's check out the closing numbers for all the major stock markets around the world. And that's business news. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. Here's Simon Pusey with our international news and around the world in 5 from our London studios.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump has held talks in Qatar on the second leg of his 4-day Middle East tour. Before flying to Doha, Mr. Trump met the Syrian president in Riyadh, urging Ahmed al-Shara to normalize relations with Israel. The meeting came after Mr. Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, saying it would give them a chance at greatness, having met the Syrian leader. Mr. Trump has also announced a series of deals with Qatar on the second leg of his 4-day tour.
I am also ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria to give them a fresh start. It gives them a chance for greatness. It gives them a good, strong chance. And it was my honor to do so. I want to make a deal with Iran. I want to do something if it's possible. But for that to happen, it must stop sponsoring terror, halt its bloody proxy wars, and permanently and verifiably cease its pursuit of nuclear weapons. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. I don't imagine there's anybody at this table or anybody in this room that would say they can.
At least 50 Palestinians have been killed in a series of Israeli airstrikes in northern Gaza. The Indonesian hospital reported that 22 children and 15 women were among the dead after a number of homes in Jabalia town and refugee camp were hit overnight. It came as the UN's humanitarian affairs chief urged members of the UN Security Council to take action to prevent genocide in Gaza.
And now the ICJ is considering whether a genocide is taking place in Gaza. It will weigh the testimony that we have shared, but it will be too late. Recognizing the urgency, the ICJ has indicated clear provisional measures that must be implemented now, yet they have not. So for those killed and those whose voices are silenced, what more evidence do you need now? Will you act decisively to prevent genocide and to ensure respect for international humanitarian law?
The Prime Minister of Peru, Gustavo Adrianzen, has resigned hours before he was due to face a no-confidence vote in Congress. Members of Peru's Congress had called for the no-confidence vote after the recent kidnap and killing of 13 mine workers, which shocked the country. The resignation of the Prime Minister, the third to serve under the President, Dina Boluarte, forces the President to replace her entire cabinet, adding to Peru's political upheaval. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called a group of 59 white South Africans who have moved to the US to resettle as cowards, saying they will be back soon. The group of Afrikaners arrived in the US on Monday after President Donald Trump granted them refugee status, saying they were facing racial discrimination. But Mr. Ramaphosa said those who wanted to leave were not happy with efforts to address the inequalities of the apartheid past, terming the relocation a sad moment for them.
And I had a conversation with President Trump on the phone, and he said, what's happening down there? And I said, President, what you've been told by those people who are opposed to transformation back home in South Africa is not true. And I added to him, I said, we were well taught by Nelson Mandela and other iconic leaders like Oliver Tambo on how to continue to build a united nation out of the diverse groupings that we have in South Africa.
A Los Angeles judge has reduced the sentence of Eric and Lyle Menendez, making them eligible for parole more than 30 years after they killed their parents in a Beverly Hills mansion. Judge Michael Jezik resentenced the brothers after hearing evidence from relatives and prison staff about their attempts to make amends while behind bars. The district attorney had argued they were not rehabilitated, but now the state parole board will consider the possibility of the brothers' release as early as next month. And the Italian tennis star Jannik Sinner has met the newly elected Pope Leo in the Vatican. The world number one presented the US pontiff, himself a keen tennis player, with a racket after being invited to the Vatican, along with his parents and a delegation from the Italian Tennis Federation. The two were pictured laughing as they held a racket each. Sinner is taking part in the Italian Open tennis tournament, which is being staged a short distance from the Vatican. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
That's sports. I'm Kelly Agigas. Back to Ayotunde.
And the main news again. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede today fought back tears as he admitted errors in the 2025 UTME. Well, the JAMB Registrar also announced that 379,997 candidates affected by the technical glitches will retake the examinations. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Do have a good night.